In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to fit a fastener on a sash window in complete detail, so everything that's going to go into that so you can fit it really professionally. It's quite involved, it's not as simple as it seems, but we're doing that at this house that you might recognise if you've been watching the channel before, and I'm going to take you for a little quick tour. It's nice to be back here and see it progressing along as the build's gone on over time. Windows and doors you're probably familiar with, and quite a lot of videos on them, and the front porchway there is looking pretty nice. I think the steps and all the flooring is going to be done in the next couple of months, so we'll update when that gets done. It's going to look really good. But this is sort of the big wow reveal since I returned, walking through here where we did the oak framing. All the paved areas have started to get filled in now. There's only a small team working on this project, so it's pretty slow going, but it's great to see that slowly coming together and looking a little bit more finished than it ever has before. Got the green oak framing, and that's maturing nicely. It's coming up to 1 year old, so 1 season of drying out, and all the other bits and bobs of joinery that you've probably seen featured on the channel sort of all coming together. You can see now how aligning the oak framing and getting all that perfect really made such a difference when you get to this stage of the project, having everything in line, so when you cast your eye down it, that it looks nice and straight. Like I say, that oak is just maturing absolutely beautifully. It's got a lovely patina to the surface and looking really well in this setting. The long walkway was done a couple of years ago, so that is actually a little bit more seasoned than the gazebo that's just been finished. There's videos of all of these projects on the channel if you've not seen them before, and I also made a little door to house all the service equipment that runs the water feature and fountain. Slate's looking amazing. They went with a mitered slate hips, and there's no ridge either, it's a slate ridge, so really low profile as you look at it, just blends in really well. And lastly, the windows on the garage are finished as well. We did the videos on them, which did quite well on the channel. Really nice, unique design and how they open up, so go and check that out if you've not already. Right, so we're fitting these little, I think they're Fitch fasteners they're called, on these sash windows. These have been in a while, we just didn't have the fasteners, and I've finally got back to get these finished off. They just go in between the two sashes. And the thing with these is you need a slim enough fastener here that it can work with the glazing that you're using in the sash. So with double glazing, they're getting thicker and thicker units. You get less and less room in this part of the sash window in order to fit these on. So if you're going to be looking to choose a fastener, the sort of critical thing with sash windows is that keep that goes on the sort of the outer pane, the top pane, is thin enough that the other sash can slide past it. And the tricky thing is trying to get them drilled in and not sort of drill into the unit. So I'll take you through all of that and what to look out for while we're fitting these. There's 2 of these going on here. Because we've got the centre bar, can't just have one in the middle, which would look quite nice. So we've got to decide where to fit these in the sash. So I just tend to space them out and stand back from it and have a look at it and see what kind of works well visually and practically. Obviously, sort of near the edge there will be strong in terms of security. But what do you think would look good in that situation? Not sure about that. So that was quite a big decision for the customer. We've been chatting all the options about, but seemingly somewhere around there was a happy compromise between putting them at the ones downstairs are all in the outside panes and right in the centre, but it's only a 3-pane window, which we're going to do next door in the bathroom, and it just looks a little bit too spread apart having them there and there on a 4-pane. But obviously in centering them in the middle, they're too close together, so we've gone with a happy medium. It's not in thirds, it's slightly close to the outside, but visually it sort of looked quite nice in that position. Quite often you'd see them just to one side in a centre pane window, one fastener slide to one side, so easy to overthink something like that. But we can keep the sash pulls at the bottom in line as well, so you can get hold of both them with your 2 hands comfortably. You're not sort of like this trying to lift the sash, so I think there's about perfect. So we're going to have to fix these with some screws. So these are the screws we're using. They're quite nice ones that come with these fasteners. They're from Broughton's in Leicester. But we've got to find a drill bit. So the drill bit choice is going to be based on the shank diameter between the threads of that screw. We don't want to put any pressure outwards on that timber because they're very thin pieces of wood. So our screw choice is going to be based on that shank. So just grab a drill bit. So I'm just going to hold a screw up behind the drill bit and make sure I can see the threads of the screw behind it. Like that one is a little bit too thick of a pilot drill, it's not going to bite in very much, but that one's perfect. I can't see any of the centre shank in between the threads, but I can just see the threads poking out the side. So I'm going to use a 2.5 for this one. So we've put that in the drill, but there's already going to be a problem with this because we've got quite a heavy drill and a drill bit there in a chuck. We've got to try and drill in that narrow piece of wood against that piece of glass. And there's not room for the drill bit to get in nice and straight. We want that screw to go in straight rather than at an angle. My fastener's got to be just there. And trying to drill that there, probably got to get the drill in at an angle like this. I'm going to get very close to hitting that pane of glass as it disappears in that rebate, which I don't want to do. And also the screw's going to be on the angle. So I've got a little device here that's quite handy. It only fits on one of my drills and it's light duty only because I've broken it once before. But it's called an offline driver. So you can put that in your drill and it transfers the centre line of the drive of the bit to the outside edge of that chuck. So you can actually get a real parallel drill hole down against the glass. I'll just show you. It goes on a normal Festool drill. You can sort of position it on there, lock it on, and it just brings the drill away from the pane of glass so you can get dead close to it and drill parallel down next to it. And then we have to use a slightly different, I have to use a hex shank drill bit for that so that it latches in. Just with that loose on them, just making sure any like brush seal movement in the sash can't sort of collide with that fastener piece, and bring it forward as much as I dare away from the glass, right on the edge of that piece of wood. That'll be absolutely fine. Then with the perfect fitting driver bit, I'm just going to use the drill again to get that driven in place. You can do this by hand if you want a bit more control. Oh dear. I'll line that up. The window's wobbling all over the place because it's pushing on it. And exactly the same on the other side. It's quite a fiddly little process really. Do this well. We've got really thin meeting rails here. You just want to mark your drill and make sure you don't sort of drill through and pop out on the outside with that screw depth as you're drilling it. So we can put a little line on the drill and mark that. Make sure we don't do that. These screws tend not to be the best in the world for the head depth. Like you've not got a lot of slot there, so you've got to be really careful you don't spin out of the top. And the idea of this style of fastener is that it sort of goes and sits under that lip, that the tongue that sits down in here captures the window and sort of holds it from being sort of separated. So these fasteners, the way people used to break into these was to sort of poke something up between the two sashes and tap the old catches that used to just flip over like a quarter turn. Just tap them open and you could sort of lift the sash and get in. So this style of fastener is to combat that. It has a lock on it as well. So we've just got to line that up so it's central visually between the two.
and that it actually works. So in the closed position, we can drill that one. And the problem with this one is the fact that the top of this piece of meeting rail is actually a rebated section, so like 12mm back from this edge underneath is half of it is removed in order for them to lip together. If you see on that sash there's a lip on the bottom edge that engages in the underside of this one. That bit is missing underneath, so screwing this one down and through right on that edge there, we're going to pop out the other side and the screws are going to poke through the piece of wood. So you've got to be really careful now that we only drill sort of, I think that's 20mm, that we only drill about 18mm deep. I'm just going to mark my drill bit at 18mm. Try and do it one-handed. A little bit of a pen mark on there. Try and get it inside the flutes. And I can just drill them lovely in the centre of them holes. With that out of the way, right down to the surface. There we go, you can see a bit better from that angle. If we had that screw full length, it'd be poking out the bottom of that rebate, I think. I can't see it. So I'm just going to snip a little bit off the bottom and shorten it a little bit. We're putting that one in, making this awkward for myself trying to film it. Just get that one nipped up. There we go. There we go. Better. I'll tweak them screws in a second. Beautiful. So it should just, as you close that fastener, engage at the start and pull the two together so it really clamps that draft seal towards each other and pulls them up tight as well. So you sort of, as you move them, look, they're nice and tight and pulling that seal together. And we can open it up. Perfect. Beautiful. There we go, and then we've got a little Allen key lock that we can just wind up there that prevents that from opening. Not the best locks in the world, these ones, but there is a security lock on there if you do need one. So we can lock both them off, pull that sash lovely and sealed around the draft seals, open them right up, and they will both slide past each other and past that sash as well. Beautiful. I'm just going to go and fetch my hand screwdriver and tweak all them screws so they sit straight, and jobs are good. Okay, so there we go. It's a relatively simple task and something you probably don't think is worth making a whole video on, but it's really easy to mess something like this up or make a mistake. So just key things to look out for is get that drill bit exactly the right size for the screw. That's going to help you to not split the timber where it's close to the edge and sort of make a damage to the actual wood itself, but also not damage the screw head of the screw itself. So if the pilot hole is the right size, it's going to be easier to thread that in with the screwdriver, less likely to slip off the head of the screw. So it's really critical for anything like this, any finish ironmongery, that pilot drill is the right size. The other things really is just where the glass is in the frame. So if this is a thinner sash window, this pane of glass, the outside one of this unit, might be quite close to this fastener here. So just take a bit of time and figure out how that is made up, so that when you're drilling down through, you're either not going out the other side of this meeting rail and poking your screws outside, or like drilling into the glass. So just get to know the window and sort of where that bit of glass and how thick these are and how big your screw is before you start doing it. And yeah, should get on pretty well with it. It's a pretty simple job, but can be made very difficult if you get them simple things wrong.